What up, guys? Welcome back to Road to the 2 Comic Club. Justin here, and this is actually going to be a one-day recap because I did film most of the footage for the day 513 vlog, so June 19th. On that day I filmed almost the whole episode, so that will be a normal style vlog, this one, and then after that I'll go back to the 2-day recap. So let's just get into it. Today we did fairly well. We made about $2,000, so no complaints there. I did forget to mention, though, in the last video, so I want to mention it now, that our Universal Display call, the one that we sold, the covered call, it did expire out of the money, so that was good for us. We got to keep our $57.33, and we got to keep our 100 shares. And so going into today, Monday, we did sell another one. So the Universal Display at the time was trading at $90.15, and I sold a call with a $95.50 strike, expiring this coming Friday, so the 22nd. And so, you know, as long as Universal Display doesn't go above that, again, we'll get to keep that money, keep the shares, and we get to repeat the process next week. So kind of hoping it goes up just a little bit, but not too much. So other than that, the stocks did not so great, but we did end up making money. We'll talk about that when we get into the positions. But looking at the positions, the market was kind of not good. The Dow was not doing well. NASDAQ was struggling to get back to even, and then at the last second, like at the buzzer, they went into the green. So that was really exciting. Google, notable stocks that had good days were Google, Amazon, and Tesla. So you could see there on the screenshot that they did very well, especially Tesla did very, very well. Another one that you won't see on there that did well, though, is AMD. So AMD went up 77 cents a share to hit $17.11 a share. Or 4.7% increase. I believe that might have been the all-time high at the time when that happened. So either way, it was a phenomenal day for them. So we'll talk about them, I think, in a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know if I took any headlines for them. But let's just get into the trades. So I did do some trades. I sold my Netflix call. I had one. It expired in June 2019 for $3.20 strike. I believe I was in the money, so I sold that one. Made a good profit, 63%. $4,100 profit, so I'll put that on the screen. And then I rebought a new one. So I bought another Netflix call, this time January 17th, 2020 expiration. I'm starting, all the calls I'm buying from here on out will usually be in 2020. I like those long expirations. And so for that one, we bought a 420 strike. And also, I bought some calls, for short-term calls, just kind of as an experiment. Short-term calls for Starbucks and JD.com. And the reason I did that is because I saw them talking on TV about, I think I saw them on TV talking about it. And I also saw this article that said option traders are betting big on Starbucks, more gains in this Chinese internet stock. And it says here, on Monday, investors bought more than 19,000 Starbucks calls at the June 58 strike price. And then nearly 7,700 June 45 strike calls were also bought in JD.com, which I took it as meaning people were expecting them to go up in the near future. So, and I'll post on the screen what Starbucks and JD were trading at on that day. But anyways, I figured why not? I'll take a gamble. I'll do a few trades. I'll buy some calls just to see if it does in fact go up. And so that's what I did. So we'll see how that pans out. But let's just go into the positions and then we'll talk about the news and then we'll wrap it up. So trying to keep this video short. On the first page, we had some pretty solid gainers in terms of percentages. And we had our Tesla call went up 9.5%. And so we made the most money on that one. Almost $1,000 we made on that one. And then Google and AMD had the highest percentages on this page. So that was really awesome. You can see there the daily gain is the column right next to the percentages in the middle. So those are today's gain. And so pretty solid if you add them all up. It was a pretty solid group of performers there. On the second page, there's AMD again. That one overlapped from the prior page. Nothing really going on the second page. Couple of the calls didn't do anything, and then a couple smaller gains from the other ones there. And then on the third page, we have a 15% increase with GM, so that was pretty good. But our calls are worth not a lot, so it only ended up being a $15 gain for us. So let's just go. So here's the fourth page again. Because I have to edit these and like manually, enter them in and like calculate all the stuff. I have a number spreadsheet, but still, it's still tedious. So I only do the first 3 pages. And so these pages may or may not be correct. Most likely they kind of are close. But again, I'm not really paying attention to these middle ones. Now, here's the fourth page, and then the Lam Research one I did check. It was pretty close. I just wanted to check on that one because it stood out to me. But anyways, let's go to the third to last page. Not a lot of bad ones here. We did have our Universal Display December 2018 expiration go down about 13%. And then OLED stock went down about 4%. And that percentage is pretty accurate. So I didn't have to change that one. Second to last page, we had... So our Sprint call went up a lot the day before, and today it just went right back down. So it's now worth a penny a share, which is $1 per contract. And so, yeah, it's not worth much for us. Another big loser for us was Intel. And then dollar amount wise, NVIDIA, we lost 4%, but we lost $800. So that kind of sucks. Last page, we had, there's Disney again. So this one kind of overlapped with the prior page. So Disney did go down 10%, and that about wraps that up. So let's just talk about the general news. Now, I'll post links in the description again for all these articles. With the Dow, the main news with trade tariff stuff, it's been, the recurring theme for most of this year. I mean, it feels like. And then, yeah, so I'll post links in that. There is an article about the FedEx earnings and housing a little bit. That's kind of interesting, something to kind of keep an eye on. With Amazon, this was a really interesting article. So the only reason Jeff Bezos would let Amazon split its stock. Now, if you're not too familiar with the history of Amazon, I had to look it up. I looked it up a long time ago, but I was looking up to see if they ever did do stock splits. It turns out they did. In like right before the dot-com bubble, they did do, according to this article, I think it was from 98 to 99, they did two to 1 stock splits and then a 3 to 1 stock split. So if you're not familiar with what that is, let's say you have a stock, your company's trading $100 a share, and you own someone owns 1 share of that. If you do a 2 to 1 stock split, that person now owns 2 shares at $50 a share instead of one $100 share. So that's kind of how that works. It just puts more shares out there so that more people have access to buy them. That's usually why companies do that. There might be other reasons, but I think that's one of the main reasons. So they did do that. Now, they haven't done one in a long time. Jeff Bezos was really anti-splitting after that. And in this article, it mentions that when they did do that and then all that crap happened, their stock took like a 95% tumble. And it went down to the single digits, which psychologically a lot of people, when they see a stock go from triple digits all the way down to single digits, they kind of think, that company's not doing too well. Maybe we should give up on it, or maybe it's not a good company anymore to even buy stuff from. The most recent example I can think of that happening is GoPro. I think that happened recently, and I honestly don't see that as a huge thing, but maybe Jeff Bezos, it just rubbed him the wrong way or left a bad taste in his mouth. But for example, with GoPro, all they would have to do is just keep executing and doing well what they're trying to do, but they would need better timing. Like, for example, let's say GoPro came out right now with a new camera that could shoot 4K at 240 frames per second. So super slow-mo at 4K resolution. I don't think any general consumer camera out there for the general public can do that. The iPhones right now, I think, can only do 720p at 240 frames per second. Correct me if I'm wrong. Even if it's 1080p, it's not 4K. So that would be something that a lot of people would actually buy that camera just for that reason. And so I think GoPro could get right out of this slump if they could just kind of execute and kind of get ahead of the competition with their cameras. And I know it's easier said than done, obviously, but I think that would bring their stock right back into the double digits. So I don't think it's the end of the world if this company goes into single digits, but at the same time, I can see where Jeff Bezos is coming from. But their stock is so expensive right now. I really do think they would benefit. Now, the other thing I mentioned in that article is one of the only reasons they would even consider it, I think realistically, the article said, is if they wanted to join the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, the Dow Jones is a weighted index, which means that they don't really take into account what the market cap of the company is or how many shares it has. It only takes into account the price of their stock. So, if Amazon were to all of a sudden jump into the Dow at this point in time, $1,700 a share, a little more than that, they would take up a third of the whole index. They would be so heavily in the number one spot that, if Amazon had a moderately good day, all the other stocks did bad, the Dow would still go up, and it wouldn't really make sense. And so they would have to kind of do some splits to kind of get back in more line with the other companies. So that's what the article said. It was a really interesting article. I did summarize pretty much all of it, but I will link in the description if you want to look at it. Another articles I'll link to is Amazon wants 1 million. Or actually, no, this one I couldn't find the full article, but they did want a 1 million square foot distribution center in this county in New York. But also, ordering tech company Olo's CEO talks new Amazon partners. That's a good video. I would watch that. This guy who does is a CEO of a food delivery logistics type of company that might be partnering with them. Definitely give that one a watch. It's pretty good. Okay, now with Google, they invested $550 million into JD.com. That's a huge partnership deal. I mean, that's a lot of money. And so I'm excited about Google and JD.com. I'll link to that one, and I'm going to read it after I upload this. But whenever Google and JD are in the same headline, that's pretty exciting. Because they're both huge companies, obviously. So let's go to Tesla. Now, Tesla's having some issues at this point in time there was a rogue employee that was trying to sabotage. Most of you probably heard this by now, but in case you missed it, apparently he was changing codes on some machines and trying to mess shit up, and then was sending information to some third-party people that was mostly classified. Tesla obviously didn't want to get out there, and I think they did catch the person. And apparently he was pissed he didn't get a promotion or something, but they're dealing with that. So I do mention that in the next video, actually, so briefly. But yeah, other than that, we have Weight Watchers, Oprah Winfrey, Steak Watchers. That Weight Watchers steak is worth $500 million. That's kind of an interesting article. It did actually mention that investors might want to wait for a pullback, which is kind of funny because as you're watching this video now, Weight Watchers did go down quite a bit. So that was a good call on the people who wrote that article. They were spot on with that prediction. Also, with Apple, though, Apple signed Oprah Winfrey a multi-year programming deal for some original content. I didn't know that until I was editing this video. I totally forgot about it. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. I haven't looked at it now to see what's going on with it, but definitely a good celebrity you want to sign an exclusive deal with. So anyways, we're going to leave it at that. I believe that's everything. So if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And again, tomorrow's video will be like a normal vlog because I filmed most of the footage on that day. And then I'm going to get right back into the 2-day recap. So trying my best to catch up. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying with me. And we'll see you in the next one.